Okay, let's dive right in. We're about to talk about one of the most game-changing moments in modern fantasy, a hero's awakening. We're breaking down chapter 4 of The Lightning Thief, and trust me, this is the chapter where everything just explodes into a whole new world. All right, so I want you to imagine this. Put yourself right in Percy Jackson's shoes. You're just waking up, and the last thing you remember is fighting a monster. And I mean a literal minotaur. And just before that, you saw your mom just dissolve into this shower of golden light right in front of you. She's just gone. And your best friend, Grover, the one who was desperately trying to get you to safety, you finally get a clear look at him and, wait a minute, he has goat legs. Yeah, goat legs. And that is where this chapter kicks off. So as Percy's eyes flutter open, he is just swimming in this confusion. Which brings us perfectly to our first section here, waking up to mystery. We're going to cover his completely baffling new reality and his first, very strange encounter at camp. And guess what? He's not alone. There's a girl about his age just watching him. And this, my friends, is our first meeting with the one and only Annabeth Chase. Right off the bat, you can tell she's confident, she's super direct, and she's clearly very, very smart. But the biggest thing? She already seems to know what's going on, like she holds all the keys to this bizarre new world. And this contrast between them, it's really the engine of the whole chapter. You've got Annabeth over here who seems to have all the answers, and then there's Percy, who has, well, nothing. He's a total blank slate. And that gap, that difference in what they know, is what drives all of Percy's questions, and it's how we get to discover this world right alongside him. Okay, so let's move on to the place itself, because wow. This brings us to section 2, a camp from legend. And you're about to see this amazing, kind of weird blend of ancient Greek myth and modern-day America. So Percy finally gets outside, and the view is just, it's surreal. You've got kids in full-on Greek armor, literally sword fighting. You've got others practicing archery. And the architecture, it looks like it was plucked right out of ancient Greece. All of this is surrounding this big blue farmhouse that everyone just calls the big house. You've got a central campfire, a whole bunch of cabins set up in a perfect horseshoe. I mean, it's summer camp, sure, but it's nothing like any summer camp you or I have ever seen. So what's the big deal here? Why is this so important? Well, this is the moment the story just completely shifts gears. It goes from being this personal mystery about Percy's weird life and just, boom, it explodes into a full-blown fantasy epic. And the timing couldn't be better. I mean, we've had 3 chapters stuck in Percy's very real, very confusing world, so when this incredible, magical place is revealed, the impact is huge. It basically tells us, hey, mythology isn't just a bunch of old, dusty stories. It's real, it's alive, and it's happening right now. But believe it or not, the camp itself is only half the story. The biggest bombshells are about to drop, and they're about the people Percy thought he knew. Which needs us to section 3, Friends Not As They Seem. This is where we finally learn the truth about Grover and Mr. Brunner. So, first up, Grover. It turns out he's a satyr. And if you're not up on your Greek myths, a satyr is basically a protector. His whole job was to find young demigods, kids like Percy, and keep them safe until he could get them to camp. And what's so brilliant about this reveal is that it makes everything else click into place. Remember how Grover was always so nervous and jumpy, always looking over his shoulder? Well, now we know why. It explains everything. It's such a satisfying payoff for all that foreshadowing from the first few chapters. Okay, so his best friend is half-goat. That's a lot to process. But what about his favorite teacher? Mr. Brunner, the one guy who always seemed to believe in him? What's his deal? Well, Percy spots him playing pinochle with another guy, and the very first thing he notices is Mr. Brunner isn't in his wheelchair anymore. And then Mr. Brunner stands up to say hello, and Percy's jaw just hits the floor, because from the waist down, he's a white stallion, a horse. This isn't just any centaur. He is Chiron, the legendary trainer of heroes from all the Greek myths. We're talking Hercules, Achilles, all the big names. This is a huge moment. It's the story telling Percy and us that he's not just some troubled kid. He's part of something ancient, something heroic. And all of this leads to the absolute peak of the chapter. Section 4, the demigod revelation. This is where the core truth about who Percy is finally comes out into the open. So Chiron just lays it all out. He explains that everyone at this camp, Percy included, they're all half-bloods. You might know them as demigods. They're half human and half Greek god. Okay, now this might be my favorite part of the entire book. Chiron explains that all the things Percy has struggled with his whole life, his ADHD, his dyslexia, they aren't flaws at all. They're actually his greatest strengths. That ADHD, it's really just his natural-born battle reflexes kicking in. And the dyslexia, that's because his brain is literally hardwired for ancient Greek, not English. Everything he thought made him different or broken is actually proof that he's powerful. It's just such an amazing message about identity. So Percy finally knows who he is. Now comes the hard part, learning how to be that person. This brings us to our final section, a hero's new reality. We're going to look at the rules, the rituals, and the dangers of this new world he's been thrown into. One of the first things he learns is that the camp is protected by this magical barrier and it's powered by a pine tree on the hill, Thalia's tree. But this is way more than just a convenient magic shield. The symbolism here is so powerful. That tree is a living monument to the sacrifice of Thalia, a daughter of Zeus who died on that spot. So not only does it physically protect the camp, it's a constant reminder of how the sacrifices of the past are still protecting the present. Later, at dinner, they stick Percy in cabin 11. Now, that's the cabin for Hermes, the god of travelers and thieves, but it's also kind of the welcome mat. It's where they put all the new campers who are unclaimed, meaning their godly parent hasn't revealed themselves yet. So think about that. He's finally found the one place in the world where he belongs, but he still doesn't quite know where his specific spot is. His journey to figure out who he is, it is far from over. And really, this table just sums it all up perfectly, doesn't it? It shows just how essential this chapter is. For world building, it gives us Camp Half-Blood, the main setting. For mythology, it introduces Chiron, satyrs, the idea of demigods. Thematically, it hits on identity, belonging, turning weaknesses into strengths. And it's just loaded with foreshadowing and symbolism like Thalia's tree. I mean, this one chapter does an incredible amount of work, and it does it so well. So, Percy Jackson's entire world has been flipped upside down, but honestly, it's in the best way possible. He's finally found a place where he fits in, a place where gods are real, heroes are made, and his life suddenly has meaning. But after all these mind-blowing revelations, there's still one huge, monumental question left hanging in the air. Who is his father?